course, we have been seeing altcoins breaking down below. What we would like to see is maybe a high like this and then a correction. And then when we're breaking above this high, we would like to see a peak in volume. So we need to start disrespect them, create bullish order flow in order to... Hi everyone, warmly welcome to this week's market outlook. We're going to start with the weekly calendar. We're having a bank holiday today, as you can see here in the calendar. And of course, there are a lot of news that are tentative, so we need to keep an eye on if they're going to release them or not. If we check Tuesday here, we can see we have Powell speech at 6:20 p.m. This is Swedish time, and of course PPI and these kind of news, of course I want to keep an eye on them, but it's tentative, so let's see if they actually release them or not. Fear and greed index for S&P 500, we can see that we are down on fear now. We're going to check the chart soon, but as you probably know, Trump went out and talked about tariffs, and that affected the markets significantly. And of course, we have been trending up really strongly latest months, and it's totally normal to get a flush out and taste the fear and extreme fear areas. In my opinion, it's totally normal to see stuff like this in a bull market. We need to see a flush out before we reach higher levels. Something interesting is actually, think about it, if we hear about negative news and people started talking about now the top is in, I mean, does that actually make sense? Does it make sense that negative news comes out close to the tops, which in case means most of the people will sell at the top? In my head, that doesn't make sense at all. The most positive news are coming often close to the end. And since this was a negative news, he was talking about tariffs and affected the market negatively, I see this as a manipulation. But let's check the charts and focus on that soon. But if we check the fear and greed index for crypto, we can see we were down on fear, and then we went up to greed, and now we're down on fear again. And also, if we see the liquidation index, this is the highest liquidations of long I have ever seen. As I always tell you, when we see huge liquidations of longs, that often indicates that we are building some kind of pivot point, low, before aiming up to even higher levels. Something positive here is actually the daily exchange volume. I've been talking about this a while. I've been telling you that I want to see us break above this high, and then we can aim to even higher levels, because to set the high for this bull market, I would like us to see a break above this high at least, or even the high of 2021 bull market. This daily exchange volume level was the peak for 2021, and now the time is running out. If we're gonna put a high for this bull market, I would like us to at least see new highs in the daily exchange volume if this would repeat itself, because you can see 2018 we had a high here, 2021 we had a high here, and I mean 2025, should we just like put the high of the bull market and go down from here? For me, it's also like it doesn't make sense here too. And the most important thing is to respect the chart of Bitcoin. That's the most important thing in my opinion. If we start looking at Bitcoin here, you can see that overall we took some liquidity here, we took some liquidity down here too, and we have been trending up beautifully here in the daily chart. And you can see we got this flush out down, and let's see now how the reaction is from here. The reaction is often showing us if this was a manipulation or if this is a break and this is just a correction, and then we're starting to break to even lower levels. Let's say this chart is starting to go like this, and then we're just taking out liquidity above highs and then starting to break again. This doesn't look strong at all. This would look like we're going to even lower levels. But if we react something like this, and maybe we touch the supply up here, and then we create a correction, and then we're up here over the 50% of this leg, basically the middle line of this leg down. If we keep ourselves above it, that is a strong sign. So you can keep that in mind, and also the reaction in time. The strongest thing here would be if we can get a reaction quite fast. As you can see, 3 candles drove the price down to these levels, and if we can see 3-4 candles that can drive the price up again, that would increase the probabilities that it is a manipulation. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. It's more that we need to be at least above the 50% of this leg. Then I'm thinking that this price is strong. So focus on that. If we can keep ourselves above this 50%, that is a really strong sign. And of course, the most bullish signature is to go up and then create a correction and then break up again. And on this breakout, we would like to see higher volume. So in this case, if we broke down, you can see the red volume here. And now we got this green candle, the green volume. And then if we can just monitor the volume here, if we're just getting declined volume like this is a bad sign. What we would like to see is maybe a high like this and then a correction. And then when we're breaking above this high, we would like to see a peak in volume. Basically a green volume candle that goes up higher than the previous ones to the left. As we can see, the chart is still bullish. We are still respecting these bigger demand zones, and we haven't been seeing a major breakdown in the Bitcoin chart. Of course, we have been seeing altcoins breaking down below critical levels, etc. But now we're focusing on Bitcoin here. If Bitcoin is showing weakness, showing signs that the bull market is over, then of course the other altcoins will most probably follow Bitcoin too. As you can see here in Nasdaq in the daily chart, we went down and touched this daily demand and reacted very strongly. And we had this daily fair value gap. We touched it and reacted up, really beautiful. And then we got this Trump candle. And what I am focusing on right now is the same here. I would like to see how is the reaction from the 50%. So basically, if we take this 50% tool, now we are at the 50% area. Now there is a gap too. So if we reach this gap, how is the reaction from the gap? So it's really important now to monitor if we are getting a clear correction now and then we break up clearly above this high, then this is a really beautiful signature that we can aim for all-time highs and even higher levels. But if we break below this gap and then create a correction and break again, then this is a really bad sign. This is bearish, and then we can start aiming for even lower levels. For now, let's monitor how we are reacting from the 50% area, and we have this gap too. Also remember, overall, I'm of course more bullish than bearish. Why should I be bearish when I see all of this? We can see we are getting corrections, and then these are only temporary, and then we're aiming to even higher levels. So keep that in mind, and I'm seeing every kind of down move right now as an opportunity to aim for higher levels. But of course, I want to see some kind of confirmation in the lower time frames before looking for swing trades, etc. But intraday, it doesn't matter if we are going down or going up. We can still like trade these kind of moves here in Nasdaq. Those kind of short-term positions, I'm keeping it inside the community. So make sure to be updated there and follow the trades inside there if you want, of course. And if we check EURUSD, we have it here in the daily chart. We took out this level here. So we're having a lot of liquidity with us. We had this fair value gap and we touched it, and I was aiming for a new low. So the most important key low, in my opinion, is this one. So as long as we are not breaking below it, I'm still bullish overall. And what we need to do is basically like we have this low here, and of course we can remove it if we want, and we have this fair value gap. We can also remove it if we want. The most important thing now is we have this supply zone. So we need to touch it, we need to create a reaction, and then a break again. This is what we need to do to become bullish, in my opinion. If we want to go down even further, you're warmly welcome, but don't go down below this low if we're going to be as bullish as possible. That's basically my plan here in EURUSD. You can see the bearish order flow. We are respecting supply zones all the way down. So we need to start disrespect them, create bullish order flow in order to, of course, be bullish and start aiming to even higher levels. So right now I'm looking for this signature here. And if it occurs, let's take it from there and take it step by step and start aiming for even higher levels. That was basically it for this week's market outlook. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next one. Bye.